SmackDown took place tonight in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the same city that hosted last year's WrestleMania, and they immediately wanted to remind us of WrestleMania 40 because we first saw Lincoln Financial Field, and I think it was actually part the footage they showed us actually part of WrestleMania 40, wasn't actually current, and I noticed that because you can actually see the setup of the big structure over the ring. That's what I noticed right away. And they were not at the link. They were at next across the street, basically, at Wells Fargo Center. And Philadelphia's quite happy right now because their Eagles won the Super Bowl. However, watching the show, they were quite unhappy with another one of their teams. So anyway, we started off and we see wrestlers arriving into the arena. However, we also see Damian Priest coming in. Drew McIntyre coming in, and we see him attack Damian Priest. So that's a match that's obviously set up for WrestleMania. We get another Elimination Chamber video package, and man, they present the turn like it's a horror movie. It's like a giant killing happened, and it's like the aftermath, and yeah, it was done really well. But I feel like I've seen this too much now. And granted, like these are for us, we're watching wrestling every single week, we're watching every show, so we see this video package all the time. I guess casual fans, it's designed to get their attention, but I've seen it too much now. I want to hear from Cena. Randy Orton comes out. He mocks Cena. He cut a really good promo on Kevin Owens and about him being dropped on his head. He mentioned that he won't be able to wrestle again. That was the news he got from his doctor about his back. And he promises then to punt Kevin Owens. He says Pat McAfee's not the best punter in wrestling, so... I don't know if he's as good of a punter as McAfee, but he's obviously setting up a spot that's, I think it's almost inevitably going to happen, which is Randy Orton hitting Kevin Owens with a punt. The only thing I want to know is what happens to Sami Zayn. I don't know what he's doing at WrestleMania, but it's obvious it's Randy and Kevin. Backstage, Tiffany Stratton's talking to Nick Aldis, and then Chelsea Green and Piper Niven interrupt her. It leads to a match with Tiffy and Piper. And I have to say, I'm not a fan of babyface Tiffy. I find her boring. I think ever since the Rumble, her character has been very stagnant. She has nothing to do. I don't care about this feud with Charlotte at all. This is easily the third or fourth most important women's feud in the company right now. Tiffany beat Piper Niven. No, not much heat. And then Charlotte jumps her after the match. She puts her in a figure eight. So this is the third straight week where Charlotte's left Tiffany Stratton laying in the middle of the ring. She's embarrassed her 3 straight weeks now. It's the same thing every single fucking time. This is the coldest women's feud I've seen in a while going into a WrestleMania. I can't think of a feud colder than this that I've seen recently. I don't know. I don't know what comes to mind. I think I would even go as far as this. I would go this far. I think this is the coldest feud for a women's match going into WrestleMania since they did the whole women's evolution 10 years ago. That's how cold this is. Nick Aldis has this whiteboard presentation on the tag team division. He's connecting the dots. I don't care. He had Martian Machine Guns against Pretty Deadly against Los Garza. Pretty Deadly gets the win. I don't care. They pinned the Machine Guns. Machine Guns are just irrelevant. They showed highlights from Jade's return on the Elimination Chamber. And then the funniest part of the show is they show some celebrities in the crowd, and there are some members of the Philadelphia 76ers at the Wells Fargo Arena, where they play basketball, and the fans see them, and they just boo them like crazy. They are booing their own team. That's Philly. I know Philly fans are assholes, but man, I guess the team's struggling this year, but that just made me laugh. That was the funniest part of the whole show. One of the funniest parts of the whole week, to be honest. That almost made my whole weekend just that. That was genuinely funny. So, next comes Bianca Belair, and she's basically wearing all black. Quite the contrast from Raw, where she's wearing all white. She's wearing all black like it's a funeral, and it's a funeral of her friendship with Naomi. So Bianca's out. She's sad. She's talking what happened. The fans are kind of doing the what chance. They're not too into it, and then eventually she calls out Naomi. Naomi comes out. She has her own neck brace, and the neck brace she's wearing is a glowing neck brace. And her and Bianca go back and forth for a while. Bianca is sad. She's emotional. Naomi is telling her how she feels that Jade rode her coattails. She feels that she was not getting opportunities that Jade was getting, that Jade was using Bianca. And it was basically, she said, I did it, and it was, I did it for you. So it was the classic Rikishi. I did it for The Rock. I did it for the people. Naomi says essentially, I did it for the EST. I did it for us. And that's why she attacked Jade. She admits it. And Bianca, I have to say, was great here because she starts crying. Some of the fans are going to complain. I hear there's some mixed opinions on this on social media. I hear some people saying that it was overacted. Other people that are praising it. I really liked it. Yeah, Naomi and Bianca were yelling at each other, but they're trying to make it as realistic as what would probably happen in a situation like this. I thought Bianca's crying was good. I thought Naomi really was good here. And eventually Bianca is so emotional. She cries. She leaves. And she's actually doing a good job of having tears stream down her face. She's probably thinking of something sad. And Naomi's crying as well. And Naomi says, as Bianca's leaving, I wish I pushed her harder. And then she even calls Bianca Belair like the nicest person in the world, an ungrateful bitch. And then we see the screen. We see a car drive up to the arena. Someone got out of the passenger seat, and that is Jade. Jade Cargill walks in. She walks with a purpose. We see her walk down the ramp, and she goes after Naomi, and she walks past Bianca. Jade beats the shit out of Naomi again. She hits her finisher, leaves her laying. And I don't know if we're getting at Match Mania or probably getting on SmackDown, but I think this is going to go a different way. I don't think it's just going to be Naomi who attacked her. I think it's going to be revealed that Naomi has a new faction who also participated in the attack, and it's going to be Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend. And Lash is there to match Jade. So you have Naomi with her faction, and who's going to be with Jade? Well, I mean Bianca, but Bianca has her own match. So I think they need a new partner. I was thinking maybe Jada Parker. I think she'd work well. Anyway, that was very good. So they showed Drew attacking Damian Priest earlier in the night to hype up Drew's match with Jimmy. Byron Saxon interviews Drew McIntyre. He cuts a promo on both Damian Priest and Jimmy Uso, who was his opponent tonight. They show Cody Rhodes telling Lex Luger that he's going to the Hall of Fame. This was a video circulating on social media a day before. It was basically Lex Luger is doing his DDP yoga from his wheelchair with Diamond Dallas Page. And as he's doing it, he has a surprise hit from Cody Rhodes. And the camera's there, so obviously they knew something's up. Cody goes, and he goes up to him. It's casual at first, but he tells Lex that he will be a part of the 2025 class of the WWE Hall of Fame. And Lex is emotional. Great moment. Really happy to see it. Really happy for Lex Luger, everything he's been through. Really, it's one of those another Diamond Dallas Page stories, those redemption stories that he's told so many times. Jake the Snake Roberts, obviously Scott Hall. We know he passed away, but I'm convinced he lived several years longer because of that DDP. And then there's several others. He's worked with people in the military who've had accents. There's one story like that. People who've been paraplegics like Lex Luger, and eventually there's several other wrestlers he's worked with, but now with Lex, and this was a cool moment. He's in the Hall of Fame. Really happy for Lex Luger. Byron Saxton interviewed Charlotte Flair. She's then interrupted by B-Fab. They set up a match next week. Oh my god, who cares? B-Fab's not winning. Charlotte is super cold since she's come back. I really don't care. It's weird. Like, she had such a bad injury that happened in November of 2023, or was it December? It was after Survivor Series that year, like a week or two after, against Asuka. It was such a gruesome injury. It's like, that's it, man. She's so fucking cold since she's come back. It's like there's nothing to Charlotte anymore. And then this match, I really think she should lose to Tiffany. I think she's probably winning, but I think she needs to lose. Unless she turns it around. But, I mean, who gives a shit about Charlotte and B-Fab next week? So you had Braun Strowman, Solo Sikoa. Solo was just such an afterthought. Tama Tonga causes the DQ after Braun was basically about to pin Solo. Then Jacob Fatu comes out to confront Braun. Solo's been dispatched. Braun destroyed Tama Tonga. They're both such bums. So Braun and Jacob brawl through the crowd. they fight on a production box. It looks like Jacob's ready to hit a Samoan drop onto Braun through 2 tables, but Braun gets out, and then he chokeslams Jacob off the production box through 2 tables. Jacob gets up. They stare each other down. Braun got the better of him tonight, and eventually they're going to have a match where Jacob will win. So, I mean, Braun, so far, I mean, he got killed on Saturday's main event, but he won the match by DQ. He eliminated Jacob, and now he chokeslammed him through 2 tables here. So, in a way, he's really gotten the better of him. I think Jacob needs to pin him whenever the match is. Maybe it's next week or 2 weeks, so eventually have a match. Byron Saxton interviewed LA Knight. He cuts a promo on Shinsuke Nakamura, who's his opponent. Backstage, we see Chelsea Green with Piper Niven. She's greeted by Zelina Vega, who's still around, and she wishes Chelsea good luck, and she says she's coming for the U.S. title. I'd like to see Zelina involved with her husband, maybe in Judgment Day, but that's not going to happen right now. Wonder when her husband's coming back. Chelsea Green and Mishin, Philly street fight in their Best of 1000 series. He had Chelsea Green coming out dressed up as Cactus Jack in Philly. Nice touch. Then Mishin coming out wearing a Philadelphia Eagles jersey for the cheap pop. Unfortunately, even the Eagles, after they won the Super Bowl, can't get Mishin a good pop in Philadelphia. Mishin can never get pops. Unfortunately, she is the queen of silence. So the match itself was decent. They introduced, I think it was a rope earlier that they were attached to. Fans were quiet for most of it. They used trash can lids, I believe, were used, if I'm not mistaken. Fire extinguisher was used by Mishin. They used chairs. I think they ran into the steps. Then there was a table saw, and the table saw was kind of funny because Chelsea was set up on the table, and Mishin's going for a move from the top rope, and she's about to land on Chelsea. Unfortunately, it just breaks, so Mishin basically goes to the top and jumps anyway. And it does break the table anyway, but the chair leg just gave out. That happened last year, ironically, in Philadelphia with Karrion Kross and the Philly street fight, ironically, across the street. That was actually kind of an unintentional throwback to that botch. But this was much better because they still did this spot anyway. But eventually, Mishin's about to win. She's turned the tables here, then all of a sudden, a woman in a hood pulls the ref, and that woman is then revealed to be Alba Fire, who then in the ring hits a Canadian Destroyer onto Mishin onto a chair. Mishin's destroyed from that. Chelsea Green pins Mishin, and Alba Fire helps Chelsea Green win. So that's why they got rid of Isla Dawn but kept Alba Fire. They're going to put her in this faction. That's fun. I thought they might just have her go back to NXT and have her be Kaylee Ray again. I do miss Kaylee Ray. I think she was a really good performer. But her as Alba Fire, part of this faction's fine. It's a good spot for her. And I actually kind of enjoy it. I think I like the faction. It gives people more things to do. And she's now with Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. So 2 Scottish women supporting Chelsea Green. Santos Escobar is yelling at Los Garza backstage. I mean, these guys should be fired. And then you have Andrade talking to Humberto Carrillo. Didn't they have like a million matches 4 or 5 years ago? 5 years ago, maybe? I don't even remember. So, eventually, we see the attack from Elimination Chamber for the 1000th freaking time. However, Cody Rhodes finally speaks up. He comes out when he's rocking a black eye. It's actually a red eye, to be honest. Travis Scott really busted him. It almost makes you think, is this makeup? But when you see the swelling, it's real. He really got hit in the face, and he has a busted eardrum now, probably. So the fans are chanting, Cena sucks. Cody mentions The Rock, boo. Travis Scott, mega boos. And then John Cena also boos. He mentions how he used to drive John Cena around from town to town during house shows. He mentions how John Cena at WrestleMania 40 gave him advice that every single time he wears the belt, it gets heavier. And he's really putting over the match. He's talking about the betrayal of John Cena. And then he goes on to thank the fans in a really passionate speech. He, of course, mentions WrestleMania 40, which the venue is across the street at Lincoln Financial Field. He mentions how he won the title last year. Right when he mentions last year's Mania, he got a huge pop. He really thanks the fans. He's emotional here. He's cutting just a great promo. And eventually, at the end, he tells Cena to come get some. He holds up the belt, and it makes you more excited to see the title match. Really good promo by Cody, but it's time. We need to hear from Cena more. We're going to hear from Cena, I believe, it might be next. No, I believe not this Raw, the Raw after. It's probably the first time I'm going to hear from him. Backstage, Miz talks to Carmelo Hayes and Nick Aldis. He pitches a new show where he wants to have Cody Rhodes and John Cena. It's eventually announced that they will have Cody Rhodes next week. And then he had Carmelo Hayes insulting Randy Orton. Randy Orton shows up out of nowhere, and it's basically separate. Randy will face Carmelo Hayes next week in Spain, Barcelona, Spain. Jamie Uso faces Drew McIntyre. Drew just wins with the Claymore. Not much here. Not much for Jamie. I think he's going to be off the WrestleMania card. Then Damian Priest jumps Drew McIntyre after the match. Priest gets no reaction anymore. It's weird. Like he was doing really well with Judgment Day. He really needs to be part of a stable because on his own, he ain't a good lone wolf. He beats up Drew, sets up the match for WrestleMania. I think Priest is getting booed for sure in that match. Fans are going to be all pro McIntyre at WrestleMania. They have a Nakamura video package. Then we come back, we get a Street Profits video package. DIY is interviewed by Brian Saxon. They talk about the title match next week versus the Street Profits, which they're probably going to lose the belts to them next week in Spain. They preview next week's show, of course, from Barcelona, Spain, which is interesting. I think this is the first time we've ever seen a WWE live event aired on, as for an actual, they've done several live events, that's the wrong term, but in terms of a televised or a streamed event, this is the first time probably ever doing one in Spain. It's a big country, so that's going to be big. And then they show all the stuff for next week, and then we get the main event, which is the U.S. title match, Shinsuke Nakamura and LA Knight. So, fairly entertaining match. LA Knight really needs to win. Nakamura's floundered as U.S. champion. There was a funny spell where Charles Robinson gets hit with the mist. That was funny. And then chairs introduced. Nakamura's is about to win, but LA Knight eventually fights back. He hits his finisher on the chair. Eventually, a referee comes in. He pins Nakamura. LA Knight, your new U.S. champion going into WrestleMania. That's definitely a big improvement. LA Knight needs to be champ again. He has something to do now, and we'll see where he goes from here. I kind of wish he had a bigger spot on the card because he really is still very over. I just kind of wish he had more to do, but that's how SmackDown ended, and I thought a good show, a good SmackDown. Not as good as last week, but an entertaining show in Philadelphia. And we'll see what happens next week as WWE officially begins their big European tour as they are on the road to WrestleMania.